The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office still mourning the death of Sergeant Michael Schlattman. He was killed while conducting a traffic stop when a semi hit his car, killing him. And we're now learning the trucking company that employed that driver has a spotty safety record.
In tonight's Target 7 investigation, we are learning the trucking company who employed that driver, as Doug just said, has a spotty safety record. Here's Jason McNabb.
It was in the evening hours of February 23rd when Bernalillo County Sheriff Sergeant Schlattman pulled over a pickup truck on westbound I-40 near Carnuel. Sergeant Schlattman was in the middle of telling the driver of that truck to move to a safer area. That's when a semi-truck clipped the back of his patrol unit, pinning him under it and killing him.
And he was known for being a true leader in the field, like you saw him today on a traffic stop.
At Schlattman's memorial service last week, colleagues called him the kind of leader deputies hope for and one that families trust.
Schlattman, do you copy? Your watch has ended, but your example will continue in every deputy you entered and every life you have touched.
The Rio Rancho Police Department, who's investigating the crash, determined just last week the driver of the semi failed to yield to police vehicles. As the sun was setting at the time of the crash, investigators say low visibility due to glare may have also been a factor. The driver has not been charged at this time. However, this deadly crash isn't the first incident the owners of the semi have been involved in. Target 7 has learned Freight Star Expedited LLC, the trucking company based out of West Chicago that operated the involved semi, has over 100 severe safety violations nationwide. Those violations cited in reports from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, a division of the U.S. Department of Transportation. Out of the quote-unquote severe violations, 41 were related to unsafe driving. Those violations include speeding, reckless driving, and a failure to obey traffic laws. Up until February's crash, Freight Star didn't have any deadly crashes in the last 2 years, but did have 4 that involved injuries.
If there's a history of a company that has violations, that can affect the situation.
KOAT legal expert John Day says the company's past violations could open up the possibility of a lawsuit.
Well, the history, those kind of violations, the safety violations that this company has, it's going to come into play more significantly in a civil case against the trucking company by the estate of the sergeant, if that's what takes place.
The company has already been sued for one of their prior crashes involving injury. In this lawsuit filed in Kansas federal court, a woman claims she was hit by a semi owned by Freight Star. She says the crash left her with serious injuries and destroyed her car. Court documents allege the driver of the truck was speeding and wasn't paying attention to his surroundings. That suit is still ongoing, with the latest filing taking place on Monday.
These are the kind of things that investigators are going to look at, but the overall history of the company and its violations will be very significant in a wrongful death suit against the trucking company.
Again, the driver in February's deadly crash has not been charged, but Day says if he is, the trucking company's practices could come into play.
If there are criminal proceedings, if the driver can say, well, I was, pressured by my company to bend the rules or break the rules or cut corners, things like that. That's certainly significant. No indication that that's happened. But in other situations, we've seen that where there's a death and that's caused by some type of recklessness. And if a driver can point to something, somebody above him who was making him do something that was improper that led to the death, that certainly could be significant.
For Target 7, I'm Jason McNabb.
Well, Target 7 has reached out to Freight Star for a comment on their safety record. They have not responded to our request.